My wonderful, beautiful, amazing Leos. I know we're pretty much past your birthday season, but I hope you guys have had a wonderful, beautiful, fabulous birthday, even though we are now at the start of Virgo season, and maybe you might even have some Virgo placement somewhere in your star chart. But anyway, I'm Gabriella from Gabriella's Vampire Tarot. For today, I'm going to be doing your general reading, your past, present, future 9 card spread. I'm going to be using the regular tarot deck, clarify with the vampire deck, draw a special vampire card, draw a vampire oracle, and then finish off with 3 yes or no answers for thee. So let's get started. Okay, the general card is the 5 of Cups reversed. Let's look at the first row, which is also your past. Okay, this is interesting. You start off with 4 of Pentacles reversed, Taurus, Capricorn, Virgo placements. Page of Wands upright. And then you get the Sun upright. Now, I'm not allowed to show the Sun, but it came up upright. Yeah. But it came up upright for you. So what I mostly see here is, it's like, well, this probably took place, maybe during your season. So because the sun was still shining. But either way, what I mostly saw here is, it's like, okay, so, August is practically like like this last season, of the year cycle before some humans, they head off towards, the new beginnings in the fall of their new academics or workplace, whatever it is and stuff like that. But, something made you feel uneasy. But yet I love the fact that you pretty much just still had this outgoingness and this desire, especially since this is one of your cards as being a Wands and Fire card, as you are a fire sign for that matter. Well, this desire and need to want to head out towards the sun or a sense of clarity as well. And I just think that's just fabulous on so many reasons, because the thing is some people, when they are hit with feeling a bit imbalanced or uneasy about something, they just kind of hold back and think, oh no, I can't be bothered dealing with this. And especially when you will just think, okay, well, we're still highly motivated, even though we might feel a bit uneasy. The thing is during any kind of like final season of anything, that causes one to feel uneasy, because that means you kind of have to start thinking ahead. And a lot of people, they don't really care to plan ahead. They don't care to think, okay, let's just look ahead and see what happens. No, a lot of people, they just kind of think, oh goodness, I don't think I can handle this. But I would never ever underestimate the courageous, strong, confident, bold Leo, lion or lioness, hunter or huntress in any way. Wow. Because in current times, you get justice, Libra energy. You could also have Libra, balance, groundedness, 4 of Wands, happy home, happy hearth, happy family, another one of your beautiful special cards. And yes, you get hit in the end with 9 of Swords. Okay, well, this kind of took a turn. But what I'm mostly seeing here is, it's like, well, you have this sense of clarity, this outgoingness, this need to want to go out on adventures. I mean, technically, Sagittarius is the zodiac of adventures, but what do you and Sagittarius have in common is that you both are hunters and huntresses in your own and special and beloved way. But yeah, okay, there's a sense of clarity. There is a sense of maybe justice. Maybe in current times you're going to be dealing with some kind of legal matter, or maybe any kind of need of wanting to find some kind of sense of equalness about anything. Because, maybe, it's like, well, you feel uneasy about the past, regarding, any kind of financial problems of some kind. But yeah, I love the fact that you guys just keep facing it head on, thinking, no, we're not going to just let ourselves get scared off by any kind of like, negative event and stuff like that. Because here you could still have happy home, happy earth, happy family, a wonderful, a wonderful family, maybe friends, whoever, you value and trust the most, that pretty much support you. But with any kind of like, positivity, it's like with the yin and yang, you see that big white area, but then you see that tiny little black speck or that circle, whatever it may be. Well, sometimes, you could still get hit with that sense of uneasiness and uncertainty about something. But anyway, because when we look at the future, you do start off with the devil, upright, and it's also Capricorn energy. Hierophant reversed, Taurus energy, and then the 8 of Wands, more fire energy. And anyway, what I'm kind of getting here is, I hope it's not a change of thought. I hope you're not holding back because of this, negative nightmare that could be taking place in current times. And you're pretty much just thinking, okay, the devil pretty much well, finally, has his or her talents or its talents in me, and now I'm just going to hold back and say, I'm not going to do this anymore. I don't feel, committed or motivated to want to proceed with something. And then, henceforth, and ipso facto, what you get afterwards is there's no movement, or something is definitely holding you back some more. I want to do some clarification about this, because it would be so heartbroken in sense if you have this outgoingness about you, but then something, no manipulation or any judgment, but I would personally think, my goodness, it's like missed opportunities and stuff. But anyway, I love the fact that despite with the Four of Pentacles, what you get is the Chariot. Cancer energy. This could have also taken place around the start of July 22nd as well. But I just see that you pretty much just kind of proceeded with this voyage, even though you probably felt it was uneasy. And that's kind of like, the leap of faith kind of combination. It's like, feeling, oh goodness, we don't know if it's actually going to work out. And here you say, well, we're just going to try something either way. And that's kind of with any kind of any kind of action for that matter, is there's really no guarantee of who's going to be winning, who's actually going to be suffering, who's going to be this, who's going to be that. No. Well, there's never, with any kind of leap of faith or any kind of risk taking, is that you're actually, going to, end up in a real beautiful oasis of anything, right? No, because with any kind of risk, there's a 50% chance of anything, because you're not there around the corner to actually, see what the outcome or result is going to be. Because with this Page of Wands, you do get this Four of Pentacles. No, Four of Cups. Sorry about that, because you got the Four of Pentacles here. Four of Cups upright. So I see you actually heading down, or you were heading down towards this voyage, but there was definitely this offering that was causing you a sense of uncertainty. And the thing is, about anything that's uncertain, okay, it's like it's good to proceed with it, even though you might think, but sometimes it's always good to kind of, do a bit of introspection within yourself to verify that all the green check marks are metaphorically placed in the sense where all systems go, and not that you think, well, the path is right there, but it looks kind of darkened and gloomy, and it looks kind of like this in some of those stories where you just pretty much just feel uneasy about heading down this voyage and path. If something was really holding you back, and maybe that is every valid reason, and again, forgive me for saying I would ever be disappointed, because that's most like my own, vampiric feelings of thinking, oh goodness, I wish I actually had that opportunities myself. But other ways, I just see that, there was definitely something that was holding you back. But then for the Sun, you got Two of Pentacles. So there was still this kind of sense of reason and motivation that finally woke up within you to say, well, we're just going to have to do, we're going to have to proceed with it. Because the thing is with any kind of voyage, with any kind of quest for that matter, what I just see is taking place is that you're still managing your affairs, even if you feel uncertain. And that's kind of like with any kind of feeling or thought or sensation, is just because, you pretty much have nightmares. You just cannot stop yourself in your tracks because you suddenly, got hit with this, like, unforeseen, storm of fear and anxiety that's taking place in other ways. No. Because my suggestion would always be is to keep going either way. Because it's like, if you even want to check out this previous video of mine about Elizabeth Bathory and the history of blood, I think, Gemini was also in the process of healing, or maybe it was even like Taurus, maybe, or I think it was one of those two that was also in the process of healing from something. But as long as you keep, moving, even if it is, spending 10-15 minutes a day just moving, and then, that helps with the blood flow, and that pretty much also helps with healing, and that also, increases your chances of overcoming any obstacles. But as long as there's movement and development, then, that should really enhance, the response of overcoming disappointment in other ways. Because for Justice, you get Lord of Knives. So, either, you could be facing, in current times with a legal matter with maybe a Libra, or maybe with an Aquarius or Gemini, or either way, but what I see here is that you are pretty much just trying to find the sense of balance, and you have this also excellent plan of wanting to keep moving forward in other ways. And that's, just even having an excellent plan is just a really good step just to keep moving, because if there's no movement, then you're pretty much just going to be stuck like a metaphorical vampire in a coffin like me, because if there's really no kind of movement or any kind of like expansion or growth for that matter, what happens is you just pretty much just end up, festering away and doing nothing. And that is pretty much in that aspect, that is how I would never ever see Leos, because you guys are just hunters and huntresses. You guys are practically this, the second fixed sign of the zodiac. To actually put your canines into any kind of like prey or goal and to never let go. And that's what I see you doing. Because for the Four of Wands, you get Judgment, Scorpio energy, who's actually like, I think the third fixed sign, next to you and stuff like that. There's going to be a grand announcement taking place because of your confidence, because of the fact that you're proceeding and moving forward with it, the fact that you're just keeping, not giving up on this goal, endeavor, voyage, what have you, and stuff like that. And that's what I like to see, is as long as there's movement and development, eventually, it will lead to overcoming any kind of negative feelings for that matter in other ways. But here you are pretty much just going to be, setting, even though we are technically out of your birthday season, every season could still be considered Leo season, because you're always going to be the true blue, honest, you're born between July 23rd to August 22nd, and you're always going to be seen as king and queen of the jungle, even though, it's just metaphorically speaking, of course, but you could always turn yourself into any kind of, royal individual, because you have that royalty about yourself. And here you are, pretty much could be suffering from some kind of nightmare situation, but you get the Two of Cups. You could also have Cancer, Pisces, Scorpio placements. I mean, you could definitely have Libra placements or Scorpio in other ways. But what I see here is, you pretty much just, your senses and intuition are there to take care of you. And that's what I love, is that your inner voice is just actually saying, you know what, Leo, it's going to be okay. It's like, yes, we are pretty much heading down towards this one path, and it looks a bit, dark and maybe a bit misty, and it looks kind of a bit like, like all mucky and stuff like that. But still, as long as you just keep at it and you just keep, riding any kind of, or you weather any kind of storm of uncertainty when it comes to, nightmares and uncertainties for that matter, eventually, you will get that sense of clarity, and then everything is just going to work out for you, because you just pretty much, kept, to yourself in the sense where you just thought, nope, I'm not going to allow myself to get all emotional or stressed out or anxious, because my beautiful inner voice, my intuition, is pretty much, just, being there saying, okay, everything is just going to be okay. The Devil, you get Seven of Swords. Okay, you could be potentially, faced with a con artist or a deceptive offering taking place in the future. But mind you, on a positive note regarding the Seven of Swords, is that it's also an excellent plan or this excellent sense of strategy that you're pretty much going to be establishing. But that's with any kind of like devil situation, is, when you are being faced with any kind of devil, I mean, I'm kind of really getting like a legal matter taking place, if that even means anything for you. But this is pretty much just kind of thinking, okay, we could be faced with with the devil, but we're going to pretty much just, we'll be facing it head on and not giving up, because, it's like the devil is going to try to put all this negativity inside our inside our minds and stuff like that. But yeah, you might want to look into this, but this is also worries and uncertainties about the future as well. About thinking, oh goodness, I'm just going to be dealing with some devilish situation taking place, and I don't know if I can handle this. And so this is interesting. You may not feel motivated or inspired, or you might not feel, devoted to any kind of like goal or endeavor for that matter regarding the Hierophant reversed. But you do get the Prince of Skulls. Now this is an interesting combination. You could be potentially faced with like some illegal compensation that's heading towards you, even though you might not feel incredibly motivated to want to pursue it or to proceed with it in other ways. But there's slow yet certain movement taking place for you in other ways. But I'm just wondering, with any kind of offerings that's taking place in your future with anything, I would really look into that. And it's okay to reject any offerings, even from like, the devil, because the devil on a positive note is still what you lust and crave and desire. But on a negative note, it's like literally being confined to mean literally in the opposite sides of heaven, meaning hell. So you might want to really look into any kind of offerings that's going to be taking place, because, it could also cause you to just think, okay, I have no motivation, or this could be any kind of, lack of like, feeling like you're, yeah, devoted to something, but yet something is heading towards you slowly yet surely. I mean, that could also be like the offering from the Seven of Swords. Because for Eight of Wands reversed, there's no movement because you get the Eight of Swords, meaning you're going to feel stuck and pretty much just feel like you have no idea which direction you're going to be heading off towards. Yeah, I mean, this is kind of a bit of a complicated reading. I mean, at least it's outside of your birthday season for that matter. But I just think that, yeah, it's important, to just keep at it. But if there's really hesitation involved with anything, I would literally just verify that with yourself. Do a lot of introspection. Go within on so many levels and then just think through with any offerings. Because let's say that you actually, ignore and reject the Seven of Knives offering from the devil or any kind of planning. And then it could also turn into where there may not be any movement, but then there could be movement in other ways afterwards as well. Wow. It's quite a heavy reading. Okay, your special vampire card. You get the High Priestess. Okay. Now, the High Priestess wants to actually reassure you, and that could also be from the Two of Cups in other ways. Well, just to, just to keep going and just keep at it and stuff like that, because afterwards I wanted to actually show you what Oracle says, and it's pretty much free will, sovereignty, independent, and free spirit. So what this is all about is that, you are definitely going to be always the king or queen of the jungle. You could still be the only Leo of the family, but that pretty much just puts you in a sense of sovereignty because, it's having this crown and stuff like that. But it's also your sense of independence as well. And so what this, in combination, wants me to tell you guys out in this world is that, the High Priestess first has your back, of your intuition, your senses, your past experiences and stuff like that. Everything that you pretty much are, heading towards is pretty much going to be in the upper book of knowledge of every kind of your perceptions, your sensations are going to be all, sharp and clear as water and stuff like that. And it's pretty much going to just, say, okay, you have free will to decide on where you want to head towards and which direction you want to head towards in other ways. And never allow other people, whether it's a devil situation, trying to, put any kind of, uncertainties and stuff like that, inside your mouth to say, or in your mind, in the sense to say, okay, take it or leave it, otherwise it's just going to be no deal in the end, or you're pretty much going to be, missing out on amazing opportunities and stuff like that. The thing is missed opportunities are a painful, sense of reality to process in other ways, but it's best to actually missed opportunities that would pretty much lead you astray, so you can pretty much just wait patiently, like the Knight of Pentacles, for new opportunities to take place in other ways. Okay. Well, I'm going to finish off with 3 yes or no answers. Please feel free to pause the video and think about the questions you want answered. For answer number 1, you get a no with the Six of Cups reversed. A yes with the Eight of Cups reversed. And here you are with the Queen of Wands, a definite yes. So today you get 2 yeses and 1 no for today's reading. Anyway, my beloved, beautiful Leos, I'm going to have to leave it at this for now. But if this reading resonated for you, please feel free to join and subscribe to my channel. I want to thank you all so much for joining me. I love you guys incredibly. In a few days, I'm going back to love reading. So for now, I'm just doing general and love. If anybody is interested in a personal reading, there's a web link called Project Page, I think, and it's on the tab of Project Page, and it has the different types of prices for personal readings if anybody is ever interested in them. Otherwise, I love you guys incredibly. I want to wish you all the best on this beautiful journey, and welcome to your new year cycle of the Virgo season.